McCourt. Here she is via the magic of Zoom. Hello, Leah. Thank you for the time.
Hi.
I appreciate it. How are you doing?
No problem. I've been better considering the recent circumstances, but yeah, holding in there. Obviously, what's happened with Ryan and then everything else going on. It's a bit of a crazy time.
Yes. So, sometimes you see someone on the street and you say, like, how are you? And you just kind of hope that they say good so you can go on your way, and you just kind of throw it out there. Obviously, when I was saying, how are you, that there's a deeper meaning to that. And so I really appreciate you coming on today to talk about your good friend, Ryan Curtis, who, as we've been talking on the show for the last couple of weeks, MMA fighter, proud Irish fighter, a big part of the Irish MMA community, part of the Bellator community, among other organizations too. Unfortunately suffered a very serious injury, and I know you're very, very close to him, and he's helped you and you've helped him among others. And so our hearts go out to you and to him and to everyone who loves him and calls him a friend and a family member. It's been very hard to see the photos, but it's also been heartwarming to see the support that he has gotten from the fans and the community. And so could you tell us about, and I understand this may be difficult, so I appreciate you trying to get through it. What happened to Ryan just a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I'll really try and hold it together because it obviously it's only been 2 weeks ago. But I was on Face. I'm back in Liverpool training, and I was on FaceTime to him today, and he said, "You make sure you tell Ariel thank you for your personal message to him. It meant a lot and put a real smile on his face. So I just want to thank you again for that." But so 2 weeks ago in wrestling practice, Ryan suffered a traumatic incident. Basically, from what Ryan's told me, I believe he was in a body lock position, and he had his arm trapped, and his partner had hipped in and kind of dumped him on his head with his so his arm was trapped, so he couldn't post, and it was quite a force that it has. It basically smashed two of his vertebrae completely. I actually have it written down because I want to tell you how graphic it is, the injury, because the surgeon said what the trauma that happened to his spine and his spinal cord and his vertebrae is that something you would see from a severe car crash or falling from the likes of a balcony. At the time, at the night it happened, I am best friends with his partner, Emma, and we were in a group chat. She said, "Oh, Ryan's hurt his neck. Leah, will we go to I think he's in the hospital. He must have, slipped a disc. We'll go up to the hospital tomorrow morning." And we had no idea what we were walking into. Ryan is the life and soul of any room. Anybody that knows him or anywhere he goes, he's just that guy in the gym that everybody loves, that everybody, wants to be around. He has just got such infectious energy. And we walked into this dark room in the hospital, and he was still in the stretcher that he'd been in the night before. There was a backlog of patients in A&E, and we were like, what's going on? We thought Ryan would be joking, being like, "Oh, I've hurt my neck." And from there, he was paralyzed from the neck down. One of the spinal surgeons came from A&E. It was his first, because obviously it was the morning after it happened. There was no spinal surgeons on that night. They had done the x-rays, the MRIs, and had kind of went into the magnitude of the injury. And I'm just going to read it out. So Ryan, he dislocated two vertebrae in his neck, C4, C5, C5, and C6. And if you can imagine, the higher up the vertebrae they go, the more dangerous it is. So it was quite high where Ryan had landed on his neck. He'd ruptured the disc in between these vertebrae, and the discs were pressing on his spinal cord, which was dislocated. So he had to have the surgery to fix this. Is what the surgeon said just outside the room was the most severe and the most dangerous surgery that he could do. Before the surgery, he had some kind of movement in his legs, but after he had none. And there was no nerve function below the level of the injury at all. Initially, the surgeon said he was going to go through the front of the neck and just try and repair the vertebrae, but he ended up having to do two surgeries and go through the back. the surgeons went in through the front of his neck, removed 2 ruptured discs, and replaced it with 2 titanium cages. And the next part of the surgery was to put the titanium plate and screws across the 3 vertebrae to stabilize them. And due to the extent of the damage from his injury, he had to be rolled over. They didn't really want to do this, but they didn't know until they were in theatre if this was going to happen, so they could fully stabilize his cervical spine with a second operation, and that included obviously a spinal fusion, but this time inserting 2 screws into each of his vertebrae, C4, C5, and C6, and then attaching 2 melt rods to these screws. So it was such a severe surgery that, when Ryan came out, we were sitting in theatre waiting for him to come out of go into recovery. The surgeon did come out and say, he's going to be in hospital for 4 weeks, and then he'll be in a rehabilitation centre for 5 months. And the best case scenario is that he possibly might be able to stand again, but he will be in a wheelchair for any kind of distance. And he's he has a 2-year-old daughter she's living at my house at the minute with my mum. And my Isabella is looking after her, and my mom's looking after Emma while I've had to come back into camp. And it's just like how insane that your life can change in a split second, and the magnitude of what Ryan's life is going to be, from now on, is definitely hard for us all to kind of understand. And we can't thank the spinal team and the surgeons in the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast for what they did, because so much could have went wrong during that surgery. Ryan is still Ryan. He still has it's still him. It's his personality. Any higher up or any mistakes they could have made, and we could have lost him and his personality and who he was. But I think the amount of support from the Irish MMA community and from so many different people, so many different seminars, so many donations to get behind Ryan is a testament to who he is and how many people's lives he's touched. He was such a prospect. We both trained in Owen Roddy's together. When I just started training there, he just took me under his wing. I lived in Belfast and trained in Dublin. I stayed at his house. We were just the best of friends, and I actually set him and his partner Emma up. We're just so close. We're like family. So it's definitely such a difficult time at the minute.
I appreciate you saying all that, and I feel compelled anytime you say any of this to just tell you how sorry I am that he is going through this and that you are all going through this as well. It's very hard to hear, and I can't imagine what he is going through and how he is, feeling internally. Can you tell us? I see some of the photos that you post of him, and he has a beautiful smile, and he's an unbelievably good-looking person, right? I don't mean to make a joke about it.
Handsome.
So handsome. I'm like, is this guy actually Irish? Because he's incredibly good-looking. I must say, it doesn't look Irish at all.
I know, I know, and I say, Brian, you're the one person that could lie in hospital with a neck brace and not be able to move and look like you or a Calvin Klein model. He's so handsome and looks so good, and obviously, his mood is up and down, and but he is one of the most, if people knew his backstory and what he's been through as a child and what he's been through, so much. He's lost a lot of people in his family through traumatic experiences. He's from D1 in Dublin the city centre, and is the most positive, kind, caring person. I'm sure anybody that talks about him is going to say such amazing things about him, and he was such a talent, and all he ever wanted to do was to make it to the UFC, and he had all the skill, he had the attitude, the charm, everything, and it just it really breaks my heart that this has happened to him. And I just keep thinking, why him of all people? Why has this happened to him? But I really believe it's everything, it's going to be for a reason. He's going to go on to achieve brilliantness, and whatever happens and whatever, he could commentate, he could take up a different sport, he could do so much. But there is definitely a long road ahead, and that's why I think I set up that fundraising page, because he's going to be out of work. He has a young family, and we don't know how long. There's no end date. Every day is like a roller coaster. We're just trying to take day by day.
And so how are his spirits? When you see him, how would you describe how he's handling everything at the moment? I know it's super fresh.
Yeah, Ryan is just like a fighter through and through. He's got so much heart. I think the first couple of days were definitely difficult, as it would be for anyone. It's just complete. It is the most like traumatic thing you could go through, and he's worried about obviously his daughter. He's worried about Emma, his partner, that we're looking after, but he has got positivity, and we believe that, and we believe in the power of prayer. We believe in miracles. We believe like if anybody can do the impossible, it's Ryan, and that's what we're going to just keep believing and keep praying for.
I am hoping and praying, and I know many people are as well, that he can defy the odds here. Are the doctors saying there's any chance of this? Like, what have there been situations like this where someone has proved them wrong and got, maybe not be a fighter again, forget that, but just to live a healthy and productive life?
I think what the last I heard, the doctor said the out of all the surgeries that people that this has happened on, that one person was able to walk again.
Okay. All right. That gives me hope. So let's go. Let's go, Ryan.
Yeah.
And he seems incredibly tough, and I know very talented. And if there are people out there, if you can share with us, like who maybe haven't seen Ryan fight, who for whatever reason missed his fights in Bellator, Cage Warriors, how would you describe Ryan as a fighter?
Yeah, he just comes out and he'll go from the bell. He loves to strike. He loves to land shots. He's definitely a striker. He's so exciting, and he studies fights. He's constantly watching fights. We're always in my house watching fights, analyzing fights. Like, he's exciting, and yeah, definitely go watch any of his fights on the likes of like Bellator, even Bama. There's some great fights. You'll be able to see him.
And as a training partner and coach as well, I think he's cornered you too, right? What was he like as a teammate?
Yeah, yeah, he battered me in training all the time. Obviously, he's a great training partner. We always had great rounds, side of Roddy's, and great crack, and like at me and him, and I know you probably know Dave Fogarty,
Yes.
Connor's photographer, and it was always us three having the best crack, and he just made my training sessions so much easier because I used to have to drive from Belfast to get down there. So yeah, he's just one in a million, a real salt of the earth type of guy.
And I know that you're going to say this isn't about you, and I completely respect and appreciate that. But you have to go from thinking about your friend and seeing him battle through this, but then you're also training. Is it hard to train at the moment, knowing that this happened as a result of training?
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, it is. Like I flew home from Liverpool. Obviously, my daughter is in Belfast, and I do my camps in Liverpool. I flew home, the Friday after it happened. No, I flew home the night it happened, coincidentally, and then I went to hospital with Emma the next day, and I've took about 10 days off because Emma and her family are living at my house. But now my mum's there with Isabella, so I came back training this week. So yeah, I just feel like my head is a bit. There's so much going on. There's so much I have to try and navigate logistically with, his family, with Ryan, with trying to do media requests, my own training, drama going on with my own situation, looking after my own daughter who's in the middle of exams. There's like a million things going on in my head as well as extremely hard training. So it's definitely, taking its toll. But I know I've been through a lot before, and I'll be able to get through this.
And I was just wondering, as a fighter, right? Like, you guys, I always say this about fighters. You guys are superhuman. You possess DNA that people like me don't possess. You have courage that we don't possess. You go in there and you fight in front of millions of people. It's just something I can't really fathom. I'm just wondering, in your mind, you're grappling, you're scrambling, you're punching. Like, is it hard to not be worried while you're fighting, knowing that something as a result of fighting and training happened to your friend? Do you know what I mean? Has it made you trepidatious? Has it made you tentative?
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
But can I just say, the way you say like that we're superhuman, we're this and that, like I think the complete opposite. When I see what those spinal surgeons have to do day in, day out, and they have people's lives in their hands, I always say like us sports people are so over celebrated. Like my mom is a clinical research radiographer at a cancer center. My sister fosters children. I feel like whenever I was speaking to those men and women and the nurses that are looking after Ryan day in, day out with no praise, no recognition, no, that like they're the heroes, like they are the people that I look up to and just admire day in, day out. But back to your point, yeah, totally. Like I've even training this week, people had me in body locks and I was like, oh, it's like panicking a little bit, but it's definitely made me that little bit more aware of certain positions, because I think everyone has to respect that their training partner's safety is paramount. There's always positions where you can put your partner in a dangerous situation just to win that scramble or to win that round or to look good, but you have to have their safety as has to be paramount. You know, we can all push hard in training and push hard in sparring, but that's definitely been something in my head.
I appreciate what you said. I kind of feel like an asshole now, if I'm being honest. But you made me. I mean, I get what you. It is true. Teachers, doctors of all kinds, they are the true heroes, and we don't talk about them enough. So you're 1,000% right. I do have similar respect and admiration for you guys as well. In these situations, obviously, it's a totally different circumstance, but you don't think about maybe the guilt that comes, with the person who was involved in the incident. I don't want you to name names, but I'm just wondering if you know how that person is handling it, because I'm quite certain, correct me if I'm wrong, that this was obviously a massive mistake and an accident and not intentional.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously it was not intentional, and that guy is obviously, I think he's absolutely, he's traumatized, he's beside himself. But I think it's just like a lesson to be more aware of how you're treating your training partner's bodies, and if you are in that type of position to set them down, you don't have to slam them down, things like that. I think it's a lesson that everyone can be more aware of.
Okay. A lot of people, like we said, have been rallying around and donating. I know people don't do this for public attention, but it did get picked up that Conor McGregor made a big donation, and so many others, which was really nice to see, because it's a crazy thing. The Irish MMA community has had some incidents over the years,
Yeah.
and you guys you're just such a tight knit community, and you seem to really rally and support each other.
Shout out obviously to Conor as well. He's always got, he's always thinking about the community. He's always got the Irish fighters' backs, and it was very kind. He sent very kind messages as well, and didn't need to. So, huge thank you to him for sending such a massive donation that will, be a huge help to Ryan as well. I know it meant a lot to him.
We're gonna show the GoFundMe link as we're talking about it. There it is, right there.
Yeah,
GoFund.me/31276-4D8. It's on the screen. We're showing it right now. Could you tell us, as of this moment, how much has been raised for Ryan?
I think there's around 130,000. So, it's like over 3,000 donations, and it's not even the big donations. It's like, to me, that touch me. It's like the people that have maybe set £8.50. It's probably all they have in their bank, and they've sent it in to help Ryan. Like, it really touches my heart. It just means so much. Like, to anybody that's donated anything, or if they haven't got money, they've shared, they've retweeted. Just anybody that's helped has been, it's just been a massive, just mind-blowing support, and such a huge, it really, really has lifted Ryan's morale to read the messages, to see the tweets. Like, that really does help him.
Obviously, that's first and foremost. Is there anything else that we can do to help Ryan?
Just keep praying, keep him in your prayers, and just really believe for a miracle.
Okay. And so I appreciate you talking about this. And I'd be remiss if I don't ask you a question or two about your own career, if you don't mind. How are we doing with the acquisition, the merger? How are you feeling about things? Some big news last night regarding Kayla Harrison. How do you feel about the state of where you're at in your career? Obviously, we saw you in Cyborg there in the cage not that long ago. What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I'm just a bit frustrated, to be honest. I'm a bit pissed off, because I felt since this acquisition has happened, I've just been dismissed publicly again and again as the number one contender. I fought everybody in Bellator. I fought some of the best girls in the world. I fought, if you look at the girls I fought, I deserve to be the number one contender and to be fighting for the world title next. And it's just, I haven't had that kind of recognition, and it's just been constantly talking about Kayla and Cyborg, or Larissa and Cyborg. It's never been, the Bellator number one contender. So that's been frustrating. And look what's happened now. Kayla's went to the UFC. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
So now that she's gone, and maybe they get away from this super card, You got to get Cyborg, right? That's the fight.
Well, you would think so, but well, you would think that.
You're not being told that, or you're still like kind of in the dark?
I'm still in the dark. Yeah,
Okay.
you have to ask them.
All right. Do you know when you said you were in camp? Do you know when you might fight again, or like what time frame?
I've been given before this happened. I've been given a kind of an idea and a rough kind of opponent, but I just needed to get back in to prepare for that because I know that's what Ryan would want me to do. You know, he's lying in a hospital bed, and we're so close. Like my success, his success. So I knows that it's what he would want me to be doing. So, I'm just hoping to get the right fight and have a fight soon.
And by the way, what about you on the microphone, on the broadcast there at the end of the year, doing the interviews and whatnot? Great job.
Like that is way harder than doing
come on.
analysis. I'd far rather analyze the fights than do the interviews because
How is that possible? The interviews are like 90 seconds long.
I just think that I don't know. I love doing the broadcast. I love getting experience. And shout out to George from PFL. He's a gangster. He like took me under his wing and helped me, and he's been great. George Greenberg, I think it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I love him. He was great. He's definitely helped me, and I definitely love doing that. It's definitely easier than getting punched in the face and your face split open.
Sure.
That's for sure.
Yes. Will you do more of it?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay.
I've been asked to do a few shows, so hopefully, yeah.
Okay, that is tremendous news.
One day I'll be as good as you.
I appreciate that. No, I thought you did great. It was fun to see you in the locker room there, doing the interviews and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's tough when you're just thrown in there. Was that your first time doing it?
Doing the interviews, I've obviously done the broadcast, but doing the interview stuff, that I didn't even know I was doing that. I was just thrown in, and then like the mic, there was no sound. I had to like lip read the cameraman. Like there was just madness happened that night. But when on fight night, when people come into my dressing room to ask me questions, I'm like, no, get out! I'm not speaking to anyone. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
So I was worried in case they were like, get out. But I think because it was me, they were like, okay, this is Rick Celia.
Did anyone say no?
No.
Okay.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, you can't say no to a fellow fighter because there's like a bond.
Yeah,
there,
they all kind of knew me anyway, so they were fine.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, I hate that going in there. When I just did the Jake Paul fight in December, and I went into his opponent's locker room, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not doing this." I was like, "All right, I get it.
Yeah.
No, thanks."
I don't like doing it at all. It's like on fight night, I don't like doing it, but I'll do it obviously any other time.
Yeah. Well, great job. You did great. Well done. Hopefully we see you back in there sooner rather than later. Most importantly, all our love, all our thoughts, all our prayers go to Ryan Curtis. I've heard about the Fighting Irish. I've heard about the Irish spirit. I have no doubt that he has it. I've heard amazing stories from our friend P.T. Carroll has told me great things about Ryan and what he means for the community and how great of a guy he is and his spirit and his personality. And I know him and Owen, and I love Owen as well. And I wish I could give him a hug right now. And we're all pulling for him and wishing him the best.
I know he'll be watching it, and I appreciate it so much. So thank you so much for taking the time to highlight it. I really, really appreciate it.
All the best. And if we could do anything else, please do let us know.
Okay, thanks, Ariel.
Okay, take care, Leah. There she is, Leah McCourt. And Ryan, if you are watching, we are pulling for you, my friend, and we want you to get well soon. And we know you will get well soon, and we can't wait to see you back in better spirits and in greater health. And everyone is thinking about you and praying for you and wishing you well. And it's not just the Irish MMA community; it's the entire MMA community. So get well soon, my friend, and all the best to you. We just send you all the love in the world. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You can get many more of these videos on the channel. So please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.